Welcome, Ian. I am so excited to have you here. I can't believe that I've actually got you on this show. I've been following you for a while. I've been through all your material on your website, and I'm so many questions, and I know my audience is going to be excited to see you. Welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Karen. I'm excited to be here too. Looking forward to our conversation today.
One of the things that I struggle with, and I know many new business owners struggle with. I mean, I'm a professional dog trainer, so all we want to do is train dogs. We don't often have time to hold a camera, and I know many small business owners in all industries, not just dog training, struggle with the same thing. What can you tell the listeners? Would be that say that the top three things they should consider. What's the most important thing to get started to be seen, just to move forward with confidence on video? Because one of the things that I often get, I know I like to say I have a face for radio because I really don't want to put my face in front of video. And many people, certainly dog trainers, feel the same way.
Yeah,
it's easy for us to put the camera on the dog. So what do you your advice?
I get it. I really get it. And this is like, I could have been called the reluctant live video guy because I was interested in the technology. I was interested in it from a marketing point of view, but getting on camera was really quite scary for me to begin with. So the first thing is, like, don't beat yourself up. It can be scary. So the first thing that I would think about is the whole mindset issue. Like, you're probably going to be comparing yourself to others. You'll have all of these things going around in your head. The first thing is just be okay with that. That's fine. But then you've got to come on to the reasons for actually embracing video in the first place. Why do you want to do this in the first place? And the reason for that should be, at least, whether you think you have a face for radio or whatever the phrase is, it doesn't matter. People want to connect with you. They want to understand. They want to get to know you. They want to connect with you, and video is the best way to do it. And it's something amazing about seeing somebody on camera and being able to connect with them, and there's something really wonderful about that. So that's the first thing to say. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to look amazing. It's really about connecting with your audience, and it's a very kind of intimate experience and a way that they can learn to trust you. And trust, as we know in business, is so important. If you have a video on your website or on social, people can connect with you. And you might have it might be a dog walking business or whatever, but they still want to know you and they want to understand all of that. So yeah, that's important. And then the other thing that I think people get caught up in is the whole tech and the gear side of things, which we can talk about. And don't overthink that. Don't overthink the tech and the gear, because you can get started with one of these things that I'm holding in my hand called a phone, like a smartphone. It's got an amazing camera. So that's how you can get started.
Mm-hmm. Cool. One of the things that I've always held on to, although I've never really lived it, is that the Queen of England used to say, you have to be seen to be believed. And that is the power of video, right? So yeah. It's getting to that point where putting your mind in the right space. So how do we overcome that fear?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it really is this fight or flight thing in our brains. I think we can see video as this big scary animal, like a tiger that's going to come and eat us. And we start to kind of cycle through all these negative thoughts like, well, what if people think I look like a complete idiot? What if people don't like my voice? What if people don't like the way I look? And we start to get almost self-obsessed. And I've been there. The thing is, we need to get out of our own heads and think about our audience. Now, I actually trained as a professional singer. My background is professional singing. And I remember getting on stage in front of a big audience, and I was going to be singing in this quite a difficult piece of music. And I was thinking to myself the same thing that was going through my head. Why did I say I was going to do this? Like, people are going to think I'm an idiot. What if I make a mistake? What if I forget my words? And Then I said to myself, hold on a minute. It's not about me. It's not about me. It's about my audience. I am connecting, I'm communicating with my audience. And I think that's the first thing that we need to think about. Don't think about yourself. Think about the most important person in the room, which is your audience, your clients, and communicate with them. So that's the first thing. But obviously, if you have those negative thoughts, those scary thoughts in your head, that's absolutely normal. The other things you can do are to do some. This is more, I suppose, we can call these tools that you can have in your toolbox, and this is to think about breath control and making sure that your body is relaxed. There's those sides of things which we can delve into. And then the third thing is, which is kind of related to the first one, but this is more thinking about this from a business point of view. Like, why are you doing this? What are the reasons for doing this? And I remember back in 2019 when I launched my live show and podcast, the only reason I actually ended up doing it and being consistent was because I had a plan. I had my reasons why I was doing this. And so in my planning document, and I always recommend that people put a planning document together. Sounds scary, but it's not. In this document, list the reasons why you're doing this, what gives you the authority to do this. And if you have your own business, you have the authority. And then you can write down what your video is about, or the podcast or live video, whatever it is. Write it down, and then you have those reasons. So when you have those kind of negative thoughts, those fears in your head, you can say, hold on a minute, look, I've got it down in my document. It's all written here. This is why I am doing it and why I have the authority to do it. And the final thing is, make sure you have a team of people around you. Now, I'm not talking about a team in your business necessarily, but a team of cheerleaders around you that are going to support you through this endeavor. So it could be colleagues within your business, it could be friends, family, whatever, but they're going to be there shouting for you and giving you that encouragement that you need to move forwards.
Those are great points, and it's interesting that that you mentioned have a team of cheerleaders. One of the things that I've learned in my time in business is mentorship is key. Your family, especially in the dog training industry, your family often think, "Are you crazy training dogs and think you're going to make money at it?" So you need to have a coach and a mentor can always see things in you that you can't see in yourself. So that's a great point. I really love the points that you made are so similar to dog training, fight or flight. One of the things dog trainers do is they manage their energy, focus on why they're doing what they're doing to help their target audience, which in most cases is the dog and the owner, and energy matters. So the dogs are always in fight or flight mode or fool around. So how do you deal with that? So what you're saying is we can take that same analogy and turn it inward and recognize that we're in fight or flight mode. What do we do to help a dog to get through those things? It's the very same thing. Breathe deep, move, sometimes movement, but those are, and having a plan. One of the things I like to talk about is, I hadn't even thought about that with confidence in video. When I teach my dog owners and dog trainers, always have a plan, and it's a step-by-step, moment by moment, and have a contingency plan. If this, then that, what if? So, and then write it down so you've got it. We've got a lesson plan, but there's always a plan of action. Those are great points. And always something to go back to. That's sure.
I was just going to add one more thing, if I may, to that. I think it's really fascinating to see the similarities, like you just said, between this and dog training. But the other thing I would say is, don't worry about your mistakes. In fact, kind of enjoy the mistakes if that's possible. So like if you mumble, if you say the wrong thing, like in this interview, you might not have noticed this, but occasionally I've had to really think, and I'm trying to get the right words out. So my performance today is not perfect. Does that matter? It doesn't matter, because I'm being human. So like, embrace your humanity. If you make a mistake, laugh at yourself. What did I do there? I made a complete muppet of myself or whatever. Enjoy that. And particularly with live video, you have no choice but to do that, because sometimes, and sometimes, like, I don't know, what has happened. I mean, I've had the kids when they were younger came in the room and interrupted me, or I've had clients where they've had this really fancy background and that's fallen on top of them halfway through. Or there was a client of mine, they'd forgotten to press the end broadcast button, and they were just eating their lunch, and they started to see a few little notifications popping up, and said, "Oh, what's in your sandwich?" And they thought, "Oh my goodness, I'm still alive," So, like, just, don't take yourself too seriously. Like, these things actually make you more relatable. They make you more human. And also they teach you things. So when I first started live video, the software was a lot more complicated in those days. So you had to not just switch your video on, you had to also configure your microphone and all that kind of stuff. And I forgot to do that one. Right. So I was giving the best advice in my life. It was the most amazing live video. I was so impressed. And then I had a few notifications of live viewers, and they said, "We can't hear you. We can't hear you." I thought, "Oh no, I've forgotten to switch the microphone on." So, look, it happens to all of us. Just learn that, and that you can put that on your to-do list, can't you? On your checklist of things to remember for next time.
Checklist. So that brings up another point. You mentioned about the software and all of the tools being more complicated. Then I have to tell you, I can barely remember to hit the record button when we're doing this. Yeah. So let's talk about that. What are the key tools that would be important for live streaming effectively to get started? Even, I mean, I'm sure you can, the sky's the limit, but what do you recommend?
Yeah, so I think keeping it simple to begin with is a good idea. So you could just use your phone, and it kind of depends where you're going to live stream to. So if we're talking Facebook, for example, or Instagram Live, you could just do that from your phone. Now, there are some disadvantages, but the advantage is, you've got the tech in your pocket. What I would double check first, this is really important for live video, is that you have decent internet speed. So I would check your internet speed first before you go live. There's a great app called speedtest.net, and they've got apps you can download for iPhones or Android phones, just speedtest.net. And ideally, you're looking for it. So what's important here is actually your upload speed. We all kind of think about our download speed. That's great if you're watching Netflix or whatever. But because you're broadcasting, it's the upload speed that you want. Now, you can technically get away with 1 megabit or 2 megabits per second. Sorry if this sounds technical, but when you download the app, it's all there. But ideally, you want to have a little bit more than that. Ideally, 10 is what I would say. And the reason for that is that you want a bit of wiggle room. So if your internet speed goes down, it's okay if you start on 10 and it goes down to, say, 5, you're fine. But if you start on 2 and it goes down, you're going to have problems. And that can be very stressful, because you'll get these connection errors on the screen, and you're trying to kind of impart your knowledge, or maybe giving a tour of your facilities or whatever it is. Yeah. You can't do that if there's connection issues. So that's important. However, once you've maybe done that so for Instagram, there are technically ways to do it from your computer, but the main way is from your phone. So if you're on Instagram Live, phone is really the way. However, for Facebook, for LinkedIn, for YouTube, for all the other platforms, I recommend going live from your computer, because you're able to do things like, for example, you can schedule your live video for later. So you could say, I'm going to go live next Tuesday at 2 p.m. You can then send that out to all your subscribers on your email list. You can send it out on social. And also you can invite guests on to your live video as well. So remote guests, kind of like what we're doing today, but this could be like a live video when I've sent you out an invite, and then I can bring you in. So I really like that. And so with that, I recommend to use some software for this. And probably the easiest one to use is StreamYard. StreamYard is one piece of software. Or there's another one called Restream. I particularly like Restream, but I would say StreamYard is probably a little bit easier for beginners. And this works on PCs and Macs. It's a browser-based software, and it works really easily. So you just basically choose where do you want to go live to. You put a title, a description, a thumbnail image if you want, and then when you want to go live, when it's time to go live, you just click on a button. Your camera's on there. You click the start button, and you're away, which is great. Taking things to the next level after that, the software that I really like, now this is Mac only, but it's a software called Ecamm Live. And Ecamm Live is amazing. If you want to take things to the next level, if you want to do some really cool things like play videos and highlight comments on screen, well, you can do that with StreamYard and Restream. But if you want to kind of add a lot more branding to your screen and to your lives and do lots of other cool things, then Ecamm Live is another one. But just see how you get on, and see how you don't want to kind of make it too complicated to begin with. Keep it simple to begin with, and then over time you can get fancy.
Yeah, I'd be happy to have a reliable internet. I'm in a valley, so if I do lives, they end up cutting out, and that adds more. Like, I totally can relate to you when you say how stressful that is, because people start to leave. You may have a big audience, but if your internet's slow or there's, a sketchy connection, people will leave. That's
yeah.
so.
Well,
Yeah,
it is a difficult one. It is a difficult one. I mean, I will say, so if internet is an issue, you can, there are ways around that. So you could try your phone, like a hotspot on your phone. Sometimes like 4G and 5G, depending on where you are, can be faster than your actual internet. And there's also there's a tool called Speedify, which is cool. And what Speedify does is it actually, so this sounds a bit technical, but it's not too technical when you actually try it. Basically, it will allow you to join multiple connections together. So you could have your hotspot on your phone and your home internet at the same time. So that's really useful. And the other thing I would say is, if at all possible, don't rely on Wi-Fi. So I know that this kind of does frustrate some people, because they say to me, well, why can't my router, as we call it in the UK, or router, however you pronounce that word, might be on the other side of the house. But if you can connect it in with a Ethernet cable, it will solve a lot of your problems, because Wi-Fi can be a little bit, depending on your house, can be a little bit it can be a little bit unreliable. So plug it in ideally, look at other options. And if the internet in your house, in your office, is not great, well, there are other places you could potentially go to in your town, in your city, that may have good internet where you could broadcast from there. So have a look around. If internet should not, if you have bad internet, there are options.
Okay, that's helpful. That's really helpful. I didn't even know there was such a thing as Speedify. I knew hotspots, but then you get into data. But here in Canada, internet is ridiculous. It's ridiculously expensive. Or cell plans. I mean, not internet, cell plans. So we have to watch that. So I know that one of the things I've heard many times, we're a little bit on the tools. I want to get into content in a bit, because this is about marketing a small business, being seen. And the fear of live is real. What's the advantage of live over, say, taking a podcast and then making it into something like a video? Is that better, or is it better to be live, or what's are there metrics that say which is better? I have a fear of live, probably like a lot of small business owners, because we're solopreneurs. We work in our little cave, and it's comfortable there. So it is stretching. So sometimes I find it safer to do the recording and then get it edited and then put that out there. And it's not because it's perfect, but it's because it feels more comfortable to me, and I can speed it up or slow it down or do whatever. Is there an advantage of one over the other that you see from a marketing perspective?
Yeah, there is, but I'm very cautious not to, like, I'm not forcing people to like embrace live video. If it will be scary, and for some people it will just be too scary, and that's okay. So like, don't feel like that I'm forcing people to go live. But the advantage with live video is, first of all, it stops you from trying to like embrace perfection. Now, I am what's called a recovering perfectionist,
Good point.
and
Yeah,
and
me too.
so although it was a lot more scary for me to go live, once I did it, and once I did it regularly, I found that actually it was a huge relief to me, because I just got on and did it. I didn't overthink it. Yes, I prepared, but I just got on and did it. So if you are a recovering perfectionist like me, that is advantage number one. Number two, the second advantage, I think, is that it is perhaps even more raw and authentic than even a podcast. I think podcasting is one of the beauties of the medium, is that it is very raw, intimate, and authentic. But with live video, I think it's even more so, because you're not editing. It's just you and perhaps your guest, and mistakes will happen, and that's really good. Number three, which is really important, is it's your audience get this unique access to you, where they can ask you questions, they can comment, they can contribute, and you can answer them live. And that is probably one of the most important parts of live video that some people unfortunately forget. So I've seen some live videos where people are posting comments, and the person hosting is ignoring them all, which is awful, because like people have spent time out of their schedule, and they've turned up, and they're your fans, and they're commenting, and they're not the host is not looking at all of those. So, but that's a huge advantage, and people feel really part of that community. And the community is a really key part of marketing these days. It's becoming even one of the most important parts, I think, of marketing. So if you can actually grow and build a community around your live videos, it's unique access to you as well, and you can highlight them on the screen as well. And then from that, you see the live part is one component. If you just do an audio podcast, that's just audio, and it's just a podcast. You can record the podcast as a video, and then you've got the podcast, and you've got a pre-recorded video. That's great, and that's really smart. But if you have a live video, you've actually got 3 or more different mediums from that one. So first of all, you're getting rid of that perfectionism. You're going live. You're reaching those people in your community. They've got that access to you, but it then turns into like a pre-recorded video. So the Facebook Live will turn into a video that people can watch the replay on YouTube, LinkedIn, all the same thing, which is really powerful. So, and it's a podcast. You can turn it into a podcast. You can repurpose it into all those other platforms as well. So that's why I love live video. One of the reasons why I love live video, because you can turn it into an intelligent, let me get this right. I just thought of this earlier today. It's an intelligent content repurposing machine. And I love that, because
yes,
I'm a little bit lazy, I have to admit. And repurposing saves so much time, and it allows you to reach people wherever they are, because not everyone likes podcasts. Not everyone likes live video. Not everyone likes videos, but somewhere in there, it'll be the perfect medium for that person. So yeah, I'll stop talking.
Exactly. That's brilliant, because I started, just to sort of way back up again into the fear thing. I started to go live on Instagram just because I thought, I am so afraid of this. I do a Facebook Live for a private group. I'm going to try Instagram and see if I can go broader. And what I found was I actually loved it. I loved it because of all the reasons that you talked about. I couldn't be perfect, and there were days I'd show up and like, oh my God, I'm sorry. And we have terrible internet here, so the internet would cut out, or I'd forget to plug in my microphone, or a dog would bark or do something. And when the dogs barked, the audience loved it. But what I liked most was that engagement, and and I had I would always have a dog with me, or try to always have a dog with me, and I try to sometimes. It's awkward with one person. So I do have an assistant, and I'll bring him in, and he can help me answer the questions more thoroughly. And then we repurpose all that. We break it down into sound bites. So those are such great points. And that's what got me interested in talking to you and learning more about Instagram's awkward it's awkward to go across multiple platforms. So how else, that's why I was kind of, how else do we market this? So those are great points.
Well,
And
I'd just to say, yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say that like the other thing to think about is it's actually thinking about how you're going to use live video. So we've talked just there about utilizing live video as your main, I would call it pillar content. So like, you have a podcast, I have a podcast, that's our kind of probably our main pillar content, where we're teaching, we're demonstrating, but there are different types of how do I put this, formats, I suppose. Now, a friend of mine in the UK, Sam Ashdown, came up with this great acronym, which I've with her permission, have stolen many times, and it's called BLAST, and it stands for so basically these are different types of live video content that you can create, and it's only the final one that is the show, the show format. So the first one is B, and that's behind the scenes. So you could do a live video actually walking around your business and showing people this is what it's like. This is how I work. The next one is L for local. And this is actually shining a spotlight on someone in your local area. It could be a client, it could be another business, but people love that local element. In a global world, actually, people still love the local. The next one is A, and it is a day in the life. A day in the life, and this is what's a typical business like for you. In your business, people are very nosy and they like to find that out. The S, we're nearly at the end. The S is sneak peek, and this is something new and exciting that you're working on that you've not told anyone else. And live video is perfect for this because you're giving exclusive access to your special audience. So this could be like a new deal that you're working on. It could be like a new service, and you're using live video for that. And then the final one is tips and advice, and this is the pillar content. So this could be your podcast, it could be your main show that you're demonstrating, and that's kind of what I tend to use for my live video. But you could, for example, do what you're doing, pre-record your video, your podcast, and then when the podcast actually comes out, you could either invite your guest back or just go on yourself to Instagram Live or some other platform and talk about the podcast and talk about that and bring, you've got your live audience watching you. So you could separate it out. It doesn't have to be one, just everything all at the same time. You could use live for some aspects of it as well.
I'm stealing that acronym too, by the way. That's I like that. I mean, we all do all that sort of thing, but I've never actually thought of it in that order before. That's extremely helpful. I really love it. And that touches a little bit on the content and marketing, where they can get the content. Do you have any insight or thoughts on, or what are your thoughts on the explosion of AI and how it's going to influence live or affect it, or is it, or where do you see that happening? Where do you see it going?
Oh, well, AI is, AI is going to be changing everything. And I know this wasn't your question, but I'm actually using AI to help in my marketing process, and to help with repurposing.
That sort of was my question. I just didn't say it. Yeah. I didn't say it quite that way, but how do we repurpose?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a tool called Descript, which I love, which is it's kind of like a video and podcast editing tool. So you basically just, once you've finished recording or you've done your live and you've got the pre-recorded, you've got the video of that, you just then drop it into Descript, and then Descript uses AI to then transcribe it not just your voice, but also the voice of your speakers into text. And then you can edit it just by, editing it's like a Word document. So if you misspoke, you could just delete that phrase and it will delete it from the video. So it uses AI. It also uses AI to improve the sound. So if your room is a little bit echoey, it will give you studio sound as well. And it will also use AI to, for example, if you said 10 years ago, I founded my business, and you then realize, no, it wasn't 10 years ago, it was 11 years ago. You can go in, edit the word 10, change it to 11, and then it will speak that using your voice, which is like completely nuts. So that's kind of where
like
we've
Star
got to.
Trek.
Yeah, it is a bit like that. And there are tools. I don't think we're quite there yet. There are tools. I forget the name of the tool. I tried it, and I see where they're coming from. It's not quite there yet, but where there's a tool where you can put in your whole video. It might be like 45 minutes long, and it will then extract little video snippets from that to then post to, say, Instagram or TikTok or whatever. I found it it wasn't perfect, but give it 6 months, give it a year, that's where we're going. So, monitor all of those things. Now, the kind of the flip side of this, which is like, this is what some people are scared about, which is, well, like, is this going to get rid of, like, how do we know the difference between like me speaking and my AI version of me speaking? And I think this is where trust comes into it. So we're already getting blog posts written by AI. We're getting videos with AI bots speaking. And then that's fine. But when we come back to that trust part of it and that humanity part of it, this is what I'm really passionate about, is how can we use AI while retaining our humanity? And I think this is where live video comes in, because no matter what AI can do, it's not going to be able to do an actual live version of you with all your mistakes. I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll put in, and this is the thing, ChatGPT now has it's amazing. It will actually, you can actually interact with ChatGPT with your voice, and it will speak back to you. You've got a choice of 5 voices, and the freaky thing is, it even goes, yeah, maybe, and it uses and it sounds actually like a real human.
I'll have to try that.
But wow. I do think, yeah, I think live video is our way to interact on a very much of a human level. And I think we're going to be wanting that more and more. Yes, AI is exciting and it's great, but I think we're also going to want to crave that human to human connection more. And that's where live video comes in, I think.
Yeah, and it seems, from the pandemic and then AI and social, we seem to have gotten away from that. So that's an excellent point. I mean, I know in my Instagrams every Tuesday at 4 or 5, actually 5 standard time now, but people are looking for that. And I see the same people showing up each week. Yeah. So that starts to form the community, and there's new people that come in, and it is a good sense of, we can't be everywhere at once. And it's exciting. So that does take the edge off of the fear a little bit on live video. In fact, you've made it sound so easy that you would think everyone's going to run out and do that. Where, is there anything else you want people to know? Anything else? Any final tips?
Yeah, so I think if you're really nervous about this, so if you're nervous about this and scared, but I've convinced you with the advantages, and you think this is actually probably what I should be doing, but I'm scared. First of all, know that you're not alone. I still get nervous today. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I still get nervous today, particularly if I haven't done it for a while. So I actually had about a couple of months off. I had like a bit of a, let's call it I'll use a posh word. I had a sabbatical. I had some time off, and I came back to it, and I was quite nervous. I was quite nervous again. I thought, oh my goodness, what if I've forgotten everything? So it's normal. But the second thing to do is like try it in a great way is create a private Facebook group that only you are the member of, and go live in there. Or there's an option in Facebook to change the privacy settings to only me, and just go live and just see how it is, see how you get on. And then when you first go live, tell people about it, and just be honest. Say, look, I'm actually really nervous. I don't know why, but I'm, and people will be gunning for you. It reminds me of as a singer getting on stage, like that the likelihood is that there's nobody in the audience that are wanting you to fail. Okay, I mean, I know there are some like horrible people in the world, but most people don't. They actually want you to do well. They're actually gunning for you. So remember that, and just go live. And the final thing I just wanted to say, which really helped me, is plan what you're going to say. You don't need to write out word. In fact, don't write out word for word, because otherwise you will sound like a robot reading from the screen, and it will be very boring like that. You want to put bullet points down, and then. But I would suggest write down the first thing that you're going to say and the last thing, because if you're anything like me, you have brain mush syndrome when you press that button, that go live button, and your brain just goes and you think, oh my goodness, what do I say? If you go, so I actually, even today in my, I can't remember how many episodes I've got on my show now. It's like 210. I've actually written down the first thing, and it's like, hi, my name's Ian Gray. Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show. And then I've got my little tagline at the end, which I won't go over now, but just because sometimes I've got to the end and I've forgotten what it is. So just, just treat yourself like, that you've lost your brain, and you'll be fine.
That's not too hard in my case. Sometimes, I'm sure. Ian, this has been such a pleasure. I know once I embrace live more broadly than just Instagram every Tuesday at 5, I will be anxious to talk to you again. But in the meantime, awesome. Where can people learn more to lose their fear and to gain confidence in live marketing? Where can they learn more about Ian Anderson Gray?
Well, my website is probably the best place to go to. That's iag.me. I've also got a podcast, which is also a live show. So you can find that out there at the website, iag.me/podcast. But like my business name is actually Seriously Social. And although I classify myself as an introvert, I do actually love speaking with people. So don't be shy. Like, connect with me on social, wherever you are. It might be, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever. I'm on most of them. So just reach out to me. Just search for my name, Ian Anderson Gray. And if you see a bit of a picture, profile picture on a red background with me looking like a complete muppet with my mouth open, like this, then that's me.
That makes it look. That's all the much more fun. I think people will enjoy that. So for sure, look you up on social and your website, iag.me. And
yeah, that's right.
Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us. Thank you for joining me today. I'm very grateful. Have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye now.
Thanks.
So, hey, in addition to your social media connection and checking out your website, do you have any other resources that you think would be helpful for people who want to really dive into content live marketing?
Yeah, so like all the stuff that we've talked about today, I go into a lot more detail with how to warm up your voice, resources, and going through all the different live video tools, basically everything that you need to get started with live and also take it to the next level. And it's called the Confident Live Toolkit. So at the heart, it's got something called the Confident Live Launcher, which is a course, but it also comes with loads of resources. And you can check that out on my website at iag.me/courses.
Cool. I will be doing that. And I encourage everybody that's listening to this podcast who wants to become more proficient and comfortable with your live videos to market your business, check that out. I'm sure it's going to be great. Can't wait. I'm excited about this now. I go, oh, great. Now where else can I go with live? Thanks so much again, Ian. Really appreciate you being here.
My pleasure.
Take care. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.